Hey, Mike Brandenstein with Worship-Based Workshop. Today, we are going to be looking at chords. Have you ever looked at a chord chart and wondered, what in the world do all these symbols mean? What does a G7 or a C major 7 or an E minor ninth mean? Well, not only am I going to explain that, but help you understand how you can maybe play around these chords as well. So just a short video today, but I hope it's helpful, so stick around. Okay, so what do you do with a chord when it has all these letters and numbers around it? So a lot of us, if you've played and looked off of any chord charts, you're familiar with the different kind of symbols that are on chords. But let's talk about what they mean a little bit here, okay? So first of all, the easy way to get through a chord chart is just to play the notes that are written. So if you see a C major 7, then you can simply just play the C. So first of all, as long as you know where your notes are on the bass, you're fine. You'll get through. But if you want to start expanding, start creating some different kind of fills and playing around those chords, then it's good to know what these chords mean or what these symbols mean. So let's take a look first of all at C major 7, or the major 7th, but we're going to start with C, okay? And I guess it's going to be up there. So C major 7 looks like this. And what C major 7 is first of all, maybe I'll backtrack a little bit and tell you what a chord is. A chord is simply the 1, the 3, and the 5 note. Okay, so to put it simply, if it's a C chord, a basic C major chord, it's going to be the C, which is the root. So it's the root, the 3rd, and the 5th. C is the root, and then E is the 3rd, and then G is the 5th. Now, I explained this a little more in a subscriber video I just did, so if you'd like to see that, go ahead and click on my website and subscribe and you'll get that video. It's a 15-minute video talking about how chords and notes and melodies all work within a key. So it may be really helpful for you, so go ahead and sign up. In the meantime, let's talk about that C major 7. So we got the C major chord is just a basic C, E, G. It sounds like this if we play the open G. Okay? Now, when we see these 7s and 6s and all these numbers, those are kind of what we can call the color notes. They add color, they add variety and different feels to those chords. So a C major 7 is very simply a C, E, G, and a B. Okay, so which is interesting because when you play a C major 7, it's a real pretty chord. It's a very jazzy sounding chord. But what's interesting is it has a C and a B in it. Now, you know that a C and a B are very close together, and to play those together usually doesn't sound right. Well, let's hear it right now. That does not sound good, does it? But when you play them, well, it's kind of hard to do that on bass right now, but if I do, let's see, if I could do it like this, or that might give you a little more of the feel without being too out of tune. But that B kind of comes to life when the 3rd and the 5th are added. When the full chord is played, that B kind of adds this beautiful color to that chord. So if you're playing a C over a C major 7, you could do, you really need to know the arpeggios. So the arpeggios for a C major 7 are C, E, G, and then the B. Okay, so for instance, if you're playing over a C major 7, you can maybe go, or anything with those notes, or there are more notes that you can add, more notes that you can actually add to that. So you can even play the octave C up here. That'll work with a C major 7. So there are a bunch of different varieties. But my objective right now with this video is just to kind of explain what these chords mean and how these chords are formed in the first place. So the next one I want to look at is a dominant 7. So the major 7 will always have that M next to it, or a M-A-J will be next to the 7. But with a dominant 7, you usually just see the letter. If it's a major chord, dominant 7, you'll see the letter. So if it's C, once again, it'll be C, 7, just C7, okay? So that will have what's called a flat 7. So here was your 7. There was a B on the C major 7. A C dominant 7 is just played with a B flat. So once again, it's the C, E, and G. And then you have this B flat. Okay, so if we play, I can't play them all together, but I'll play them. Then I'll play the 1, 3, and the 7, and you hear that sound. That's a very bluesy chord. You'll hear that a lot in blues, in rock. You'll hear it quite a bit in funk. It's a very popular chord, so you'll see a lot of these 7s, and then you'll also see the C minor 7, but I'll talk about that in a moment. So one chord I want you to reconsider. Well, first of all, you can play that color note in your fill. So if you're playing, so you can kind of do stuff like that to play over that 7 chord. If we're just, that's kind of a bass line there. If you want to do a little fill, you might, if it's over a C7, you might want to go, that was a little choppy, but, something like that. You can add, so I'm just going G, B flat, G, and then I'm kind of hammering on from the D, E, C. You can play that very easily over a 7 chord, okay? This particular one was a C7 chord. The 9th chord then would be a C major. And then, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 is the D. So if this, this is based a little bit out of tune. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pick up one that is in tune. Here we go. On the 9th chords, as I was saying, we have each of these notes is just the number of the note on the scale. So if we do the major 7th, we have the major 7th scale. C major 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, a C major is this, 1, 3, and the 5. Then what we do is we add that 7th note, and it will sound, all right, I'm just going to do the 1, the 5, and the 7, you'll hear. Okay, so it gets prettier when you add those other notes. A C dominant 7, just the C7, is the dominant scale, and it's the 7th note of the dominant scale. If you, I don't want to get into all the scales right now in this video, but you can download my basics PDF on my website. You could do that. Also, I talk a little bit about that in some other videos, but the basics PDF will probably, I hope, explain all of that to you, where these scales come from, and where some of the modes come from. Okay, so if we do the dominant scale, it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's got a flat 7, which is a B flat, and 8. Okay, so that's why that C7 sounds like this. Okay, if I play it up here. All right, so it has that bluesy, rock and roll, sometimes even a funky sound. And that's a real popular chord. It's used in so many different genres of music. So the 7 chord is very popular, the dominant 7th chord, that's called. All right, another one that you're going to see sometimes is a 9th chord. A 9th chord just continues up the scale. So if we do a C major 9th, it'll be, or C major 7 with a 9 next to it, it'll be this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So the 9 is the D, but it's an octave up. So if we play the C, the G, and the D, it'll have this. See if I could. Okay, so it'll have a real pretty sound. That 9th is a real pretty warm chord that really adds a lot of nice color to a lot of songs. So let's see. I think that'll be it for right now. The main thing I wanted to do is give you an idea of where these numbers come from, what these symbols mean when you see a chord. One other thing I want to cover briefly is the difference between a major and a minor. I think I mentioned that it's in another video that you can subscribe to. Please do that because you'll get a fuller explanation. But pretty much, if you see C minor 7, it's the same thing. It's just a C minor chord. So you got this, but it's a C minor scale. So here's the C minor scale. And once again, it's a C minor, so you got the root chord, the third, the fifth, and the seventh. Okay, so it's the same thing, but now we're using a minor third. Okay, and a C minor 7, you will hear, let's see if I can get that to sound, yeah, it'll sound something like this. Okay, and your minor chords will be notated with a lowercase min, almost always. Sometimes you'll see in jazz charts, you'll see a C minor or a minor chord notated by a dash. So you would see a C dash. If it was a C minor 9, you would see a C dash 9. And that just hopefully clears up some of these symbols for you as you're going through and navigating some of these chord charts. I know sometimes I would be going through a song and then I run into a chord I have no idea what it is. So the only other thing I want to mention with the chord chart is when you see the letter, when you see two chords separated by a slash, you, the bass player, are going to play, or I, the bass player, am going to play the note on the right, because the note on the right is the bass note. So if you're a piano player, you're going to play the chord on the left with your right hand, and you're going to play the bass note, whatever it is, on the right. Sometimes you'll see a G with a B, and that's just saying to play a low B with your G chord. And sometimes you'll see a D and an F sharp, same thing. So I hope that helps. That's just a little bit of info on these chords and how we can maybe navigate, not only navigate through these chord charts, but start to explore some different fills on these chords and how we can play through them. Most importantly, really pay attention to the major and minor, because you don't want to play a major third. You don't want to play an E if you're in a C minor. If you're playing a C minor, you want to make sure that you play that E flat, okay? So subscribe to my website, get that full video, and download the basics PDF as well. I hope that'll help you. Email me with any questions. If anything is not clear, please email me. I really rely on that from you guys. It's been very helpful because I'm going to miss things, and I really want to make sure that these videos communicate well to you. So for Worship Bass Workshop, this is Mike Brandenstein.